Welcome back to the Tu-Vie podcast. Today we are talking about a lot of good things that happened this week. A lot happened. So I think we just jump right into it.
Yeah.
Colin, you watched personally one of the movies that I was so looking forward to. Actually, I forgot to do the main thing. Sorry. I welcome back to the Tu-Vie podcast. I am your
They
host
know.
James,
They
and this
know.
is my
They know.
co-host Colin. I totally forgot to do that. I'm so excited to talk about this. You finally watched
I finally
Babylon.
watched it.
You
Yeah.
finally watched Babylon. I sent you the code because it finally came in the mail, and that's why I made my background Babylon because it's so good.
Such a good movie.
Okay, so you saw it. You watched it in 2 days. You started it late at night and then you finished it yesterday, right?
Right.
Okay. You and we specifically tried not to talk about this as much as we can because I wanted to save it for right here.
Yeah.
So we talked about the first 5 minutes because I told you that was going to be a
First
bit
10
much.
minutes.
First 10 minutes, yeah. If you haven't seen Babylon, just prepare
Spoilers.
yourself for 10. Oh yeah, spoiler warning. You just prepare yourself for a lot in the first 10 minutes. So spoiler warning going through Babylon. Lay it on me, Colin.
Okay. So I told you yesterday, we talked about it for a few minutes, but we also wanted to save our discussion for the podcast,
We
which
did.
was a smart move, but I was trying to derail you and
You really
get
were.
a little
And you
in.
were and it was working 89% of the time.
Yeah,
I
you
had, to,
just
I had to
kept on
stop myself
talking.
like halfway through 5 sentences.
Yeah, man. And I told you that you giving me that code was like giving me that ticket to the greatest party of all time
Mm,
that slowly moved into one of the greatest commentaries of the film world. You know,
absolutely.
not just the acting world, but also producing, acting, sound,
Directing.
everything.
Mainly,
And
mainly directing, because that
God,
beat in the movie where sound stages come into play and they're having to have complete quiet on the set and they have the
that
mic check
take
guy.
was so intense.
It's like what, 8 takes,
Yeah, it took
and
8 takes.
it's so chaotic, it's so aggressive, it's funny, it's really funny. I didn't expect to be laughing that hard, but it is.
That's the guy from that guy with the glasses that was screaming, "I will blink in your mouth." Like I think that's the
Yeah,
guy from Wolf of Wall Street.
yeah, that guy, he's all over the place, but he was I think he's well more known in the Wolf of Wall Street. But yes, that guy who was, I think he was the producer because the girl was directing it. And
Yeah,
she was my favorite because you can tell she was getting mad just by how every time she got up, she had to like force herself out of that chair because she was getting so tired. But no,
and
so you were saying.
did you notice as well? Like, I mean, it's not like hard to notice, but I like that little details. Like each shot of like Margot Robbie's legs are getting sweatier and sweatier, and like
Yeah, because that guy in the camera booth who has to turn the crank in order for the film to roll
and the
died of
lights
heat
and everything.
exhaustion.
Oh my gosh, dude!
And the
There are so
heat,
many fatalities in this
there was
movie.
like five in that just like 10-minute shot with
First
the
10 minutes
18.
of the movie, there was one fatality, and it was so gruesome. Like, you don't remember the okay,
I
I'm
know
gonna
the
try to.
person overdosed, which is
Yeah, that
horrible.
that was the first fatality of the
Oh, that
movie.
was, yeah, no, that was awful. That was, and it just, it makes you feel a lot of emotions in the first 10 minutes. It makes you feel confused. It makes you feel grossed out for sure.
Oh
It
my
makes you
gosh, yeah.
feel like overwhelmed and then sad and then like peace.
As unfortunate as the infamous shot of like the elephant's, butt
But
shooting like poop, like
oh,
that is like definitely like as you start like thinking about it, you're like, is it supposed to be grossing me out? Yes, but like, is there a reason for it? And it's like, yeah, because Manuel, is am I saying that? I'm just gonna
Manny.
say
He went he went by
because
he went by Manny throughout the entire
okay,
movie
so
anyways.
like that's like such a great, I hate saying like metaphor like this, but that's a like really great metaphor of like, this guy who's like working in the crap, and he has to get crapped on in order to get to where
Yeah.
he needs to go and do some ridiculous stuff. Like later on, like because in the when you first see it, you're not really thinking about it. You're just like, what is going on? But then like when you
Like that
finish
truck
the
driver. He
movie,
comes out. He sets the scene, the truck driver, and he comes out and he goes, what is that? And you turn the camera and it's a giant elephant on like a truck. And you're just amazed by this circus act. And then the entire movie is just the entire circus.
can I quickly say this?
Hmm.
This has to be hands down the greatest performance from Margot Robbie.
I'm not
I
gonna
can't
disagree.
I
No, that
can't
was it
think
was
of
she was
anything
killer in
else.
that movie.
She's always amazing. She's always delivered it her all. But this one was like she dude,
She hit all four squares of emotion. She had like sadness, she hit rage, she hit joy, and then she hit
rock
like
bottom.
rock bottom, pretty much. Yeah, it ah, and we talked about this briefly, but that scene where she when she finally gets to go to the set and you're seeing like the 7 different movies being filmed, and she gets to her stage, which is essentially just like a wooden crate. It's so small, but because they only had a certain amount of frame they had to work with. But when she's doing that scene where she's having to dance on the stage and hop from place to place on the tables, and then she just starts crying, like just
Yeah.
immediately, and then the tear goes away, and then she's back to it, and she's laughing, and she's doing this whole like
My
I
what was
was blown
hilarious was, is
away.
it too much to ask? Like, could you do like just a little bit of tears? She's like, oh yeah, one or two. I was just
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was such a
that
cool
was
beat.
that was really good. I don't know. I think this movie definitely was underappreciated in I'd say some Oscar categories. I think it did. What was it nominated for? Because was it best
It was
original
nominated.
sound?
It was nominated for 5 Golden Globes. Brad Pitt, I think, he was
It was
nominated
nominated for
for
3
Best Actor.
Oscars. It was
Yeah,
best production design, costume design, and music.
music should have won.
Music was
Music should have won.
killer. Now I think it was who did win best. I think it was R. No, they won best original song. Definitely deserving with not to. Who won best music? Because I think that was
Uh,
All Quiet on the Western Front. I think that was that.
because
Because
I
I
haven't
think,
really paid attention to that part. Like
well, yeah, I don't think a lot of other
you know
people do
me.
too. Either way, it was
Um,
great. I think the sound really sets, like I told you, the sound sets the scenes for the movies.
Absolutely.
It carries the emotion as much as the actors do.
Without the music in this movie, it would just become total. Like it's obvious to say this, but like this music got like really like I really feel like this music really helped guide the film.
It did.
Like it
I
just
think
it was
without
a
the music, it wouldn't
character
have
of
been
its
as
own.
touching.
Yeah, and that's something that Damien, the director, has always done so well with freaking Whiplash,
Mm.
with First Man, with I think I'm right with First Man because I
Yeah,
remember
he did
really
First Man.
like the music. And La La Land, like
Gosh,
he really like takes advantage of like music and helping it like use the music to help flow with the scenes.
especially
And
La La Land.
also the cutting and editing of this movie was so perfect. Like
I
like
did. Ever since you started like talking about editing in movies, which I personally have never paid attention to, mainly because I just never found it important enough in the movie. But now you said it, I think for Cocaine Bear. We'll talk about that later. I do think
I'll
though there
be
are
nice
some
today
movies
and I won't say anything.
like the Hunger Games, the very first one. I think maybe it's either the first one or the second one. They got odd cut editing skills. Like,
I can't remember
well,
Hunger
go
Games off
watch
the top of
it,
my head
and
like that.
it specifically takes place when they're on the train, where it's where Peta and Katniss are talking, and he is like, if we really are going to present like we're actually a couple, we should probably get to know each other. And then they cut to her; it's a natural cut, and then she's just responding about something, and then just cuts to him saying something completely similar, but just like it didn't seem right in the timing. Like it almost like cut her the rest of her line off. And what he was supposed to say would have made sense if she finished the line. You know what I'm trying to say? Like there was
Interesting.
more to what she had to say. I don't know.
Yeah,
It
that's
was it was
interesting.
bad. I can't explain it. You just gotta watch it. It's the train scene when they're
No,
on
I
it. It's
believe you,
bad.
man. Also,
Bad.
like I also just remember when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, I don't get why people really like this movie. Like this is kind of like a drag.
I thought it was fine. I think we all like the more Hunger Game part of the movie than the beginning of it. Because I rewatched the first three or first two. I just ignored the part one and part two thing. And
Yeah.
I forgot how
And
interesting they were.
now as an adult, when later on when I'm gonna go back watching that movie, I'm like, yeah, kill those kids. Yeah, they suck.
Okay. Cool. By the way, Babylon was original score. It was not original song, original score, which I agree. It could have
Good.
won that. I think All
Voodoo
Quiet did
Mama.
win. The Buddha Mama's killer. That's a great one. I do though want to talk about one thing about Babylon that I don't hear enough about, or when it came out, I didn't hear enough about, which was Babylon itself, but also Tobey Maguire. He was critically underused.
Uh, yeah, but I also feel yeah,
Well,
but
like
I also
it showed in
I
the
can't
movie
really
that he had a
see.
lot more to say, and I feel like it wasn't shown.
I feel like with him, like if you were to add more to it I don't know. Like I thought the presence he had was good enough,
Yeah, but
and
I wanted a
he
little
was
more.
already eerie and dark,
Yeah,
and I do agree.
the rat scene. Oh my
Oh my
god.
dude. Okay, so
Oh,
like okay, so we were talking about a project, right? Set
mm,
in a mental hospital. I'm going to be cryptic and vague about that, and including Batman, right?
oh, okay.
So I was thinking, right, and like that's how I pictured Arkham, like going into the those depths
Yeah,
and just those
that was
layers.
weird.
It was it was so brutal. And
It
that guy,
was
I don't
weird.
did he have the mumps? Like what was wrong with his face?
There probably was like syphilis or something. I don't know. He definitely got some going wrong with him, but all I do know is that this entire movie is just one gigantic metaphor with thousands of other metaphors built right into it.
I did want to talk to you about two things
Mm,
about your interpretation.
mm,
And it was first we'll start in order. All right.
mm.
The first one is the Toby Maguire like going into those like the the butthole of Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
just the bowels of Los
Yeah.
Angeles.
So
Butthole. I don't
do
think you
you
go. I think you go down through. I think it's where you
they
end.
call Toby
I don't think you
Maguire,
go.
and
If you go upwards.
I'm quoting him. Toby Maguire said, "This is the blank of Los
Oh, really?
Angeles."
What was that the line
Yeah,
in the? Oh,
that
it's
was
been
the
a long
line.
time since I've seen it. Then
So, do you feel like, because I'm trying to wrap my head around like why Tobey Maguire was there, because I do like he was there for a purpose, but I don't think he wasn't just necessarily there as like a lone shark who's trying to go after Nelly. Um,
no.
you do you feel like when he was like trying to pitch his ideas and they were all like dark and weird, and he's like, "I'm going to show you this guy who will do anything for money." Do you feel like that was a representation of Hollywood
Oh,
today?
absolutely. That's exactly the metaphor. I feel like so many people who desperately want to have their name out there for something feel like they have to do whatever, not to just make a buck, but to be known. And that sometimes can backfire on you, where you then have things come out of your hand. I mean, just not even that one guy with the rat. Everybody in this movie, like Nelly. Nelly said she was a star. She said, "You're not born it. You're." Said, You're not made into a star. You're either born with it or you're not." And I think that in this movie, you see that the only reason why she has the chance is because she's pretty, and at the party, she was the center of attention, and people kept watching.
Yeah,
And Jeff
and she
Garland's
had the
character was like, we got to use that. And they gave her the ticket. And then she became this movie star because she wanted the attention all to herself. And we even talked about that.
Samara Weaving.
Samara Weaving and Margot Robbie look exactly the same, almost exactly the same, where I've
Yeah,
confused them just on and off screen. And in that scene where they're standing by each other and they say, well, no, come on. She's much more prettier than you. And we're like, they're exactly the same. This is
like
that Samara's
whenever
character is a
Margot
well-known
Robbie looked
actress.
really sad, like you remember that excuse me, that cab ride that she had with Manny, and they were going to visit her mother, and then they got out of the cab, and Margot Robbie was like talking about her life,
Was that the
and
one where she ran from the mob, like the crowd?
yeah, and
Okay.
Manny came in and punched that guy, and then the guy was tracking on, which I thought was like a really cool. I thought that was a really cool exaggeration of how fans treat movie stars, and they just like worship
Exaggeration. I
them.
feel like that's pretty accurate. There are times people
Yeah.
who like stock their homes. So that's
Oh,
pretty accurate.
Shia LaBeouf, but also, yeah,
Hold on, what do you mean Shia
you
LaBeouf?
never heard that book?
No.
So there was a years ago. I could be, I'm fogging on the details, but Shia LaBeouf had like a super stalker, and I think she
The
broke
worst kind.
into his home once,
Jeez.
and that was crazy. But back to my point.
Hold on. You can like actors, but really, do you really got to disturb their peace?
Yeah, I mean, but also like TMZ exists, so I
Well,
mean that's never
TMZ, I
gonna go
think
away.
they know not to break the law.
Yeah, but
They
they're
just know how to
also like,
make stuff up.
oh no, 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 I know that.
So
I'm just talking about with them of like just infiltrating like an actor's like inside life
that
where
is
it's
true. But rather than breaking in someone's home, I think
yeah.
some people got a case.
But there were a few shots where like when she was in the dark and she was sad, I was like, that's oh wow, she looks really a lot like
Mhm.
Margot. Like I confused her for a second. I was like, which scene are we in? I was like, oh no, that's Margot.
Yeah, no, it's in that scene
Okay,
where she's at the dinner and she has to act all prim and proper.
that was
That was
heartbreakingly
hard to watch.
that was difficult to watch because I mean, one, I was kind of happy Margot. Like I was happy when Nelly, she like when she was about to throw up, she was like, "No, I'm gonna throw up in this house."
Yeah,
Like I thought
and again,
that
not a
was
big fan of seeing
funny.
puke in the movies. I don't know why we have to see that. We can just hear it and call it
It
a
was
day.
so much.
It was so I there were more moments in any movie. Sorry, in this movie, there were no more moments that I've almost wanted to puke than any of the movie I've seen before. I've never almost actually puked in this more than this movie.
You
It's
want to hear something crazy? Is that the only scene that I was like, "Oh, what's gonna happen?" was the snake scene.
oh my god, yes, the snake scene was bananas because she picks it up and then just right into her neck.
Yeah,
And everybody in the so all seven people that saw the movie with me, because I was gonna tell you my story when I went to go see the movie. There was like
yeah, yeah,
eight
yeah, yeah.
people with me. We
And
all
then,
were in shock.
yeah,
We didn't make us like we all did the as like as a crowd, but we didn't even move until that entire scene was just done and over with.
dude. And I forget her name, the Asian girl.
It was like Mama something. She had a really interesting name. I liked her character too. She
I
was
like,
not used
I,
enough.
I, dude, when she came in, she freaking like cut the snake, pulled it out, and you get like a weird, gross close shot of the venom stick like coming out,
Yeah,
and then she just sucks it out, grabs the flask, and then just like takes a hit, and then like spits it out. Like, dude,
it's a
I
powerful woman right there.
I wanted Nelly so badly to just like settle with her, man. Like that is like a woman you need to keep.
If she can suck the venom out, dude. By the way, Olivia Wilde was in this movie.
Yeah, for like a split second, and then when she was like, "I want a divorce," I was like, "This aged
That's
well."
right. She was one of the wives. He was poor guy. Jack Conrad though. What an interesting guy. Jack
Yeah,
Conrad. I
I not devastatingly sad, man.
I didn't
Devastatingly
I
sad.
didn't know that. I mean, I kind of had a feeling his story wasn't going to end all that happy, but
I was kind of not hoping, but
I mean, it
like,
felt like there was no other way for his character
yeah,
to end,
like
Like
with his character arc, like it, like because it in the beginning it was set up as like he's a
he was a
he's
groundbreaking actor.
basically he's basically inspiring Manny as he's giving a speech about like films, but
Oh,
he's
by the way,
actually
sorry, we were talking about Lady Faye, the girl that sucked the venom out. Finally got
late
her name.
day.
She's
Okay, cool.
she's down the cast list. I don't know why.
Boss.
Not needed unless it's done. It says credits in order, which is really odd. Oh, credits in order. Okay, so it's people when we saw them in the movie. Okay, sorry, I thought it was in like pay list. Okay, yeah,
You're
she was
good.
great. Go on.
Like I really, one, I was really happy with Brad Pitt's performance. Like he killed it in this movie,
Yeah,
and
he did great.
I did looking into people's thoughts because I was really curious as to understanding why people didn't like it so much. One of the reasons that I thought of where I was like, that's a fair point, but also I have to disagree was like the comparison between his role in this one and the role in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which with this movie, it takes it to a whole other level of like
Sure.
a person who used to work in the film industry. Like this guy is still in the film industry, but like he was one of the archetypes that like changed
Yeah, he
film.
was like one of the founding actors.
And he like if you notice like his character throughout the movie, he's always like telling people like, please be honest with me, don't tell me, like, like be real.
Yeah,
Like we get our first glimpse of that when the woman was trying to get his attention by like, showing her cleavage in front of his face, and he was like, "You didn't have to do that to get my attention. You could have
It was
said
the very it was during this party where there's like
first 10 minutes."
confetti in the first 10 minutes, but it's exactly she was doing that, and he's like, you can just be a person, and I'd
Yeah,
still pay as much attention to you. And doesn't he say like that actually it turns away from the attention that you need or something like that? Like he was actually providing good advice. He's like
yeah.
that like you don't need to do that in
Plus,
order
he
to get
was
the attention you
smooth
deserve.
and suave, and
I mean, that's Brad Pitt. With that mustache, he got to be smooth. With a name like Jack Conrad, if you're not smooth, you're missing out a chance of a great personality. You know,
like this was like one of the few times where like Brad Pitt like disappeared for me. Like I was watching a
that's
different
true.
character. Like I mean, I'm not saying like Brad Pitt can never do that. Like that's not what I'm
But it's
saying.
just it felt different because every single movie he's been in has either been like a modern version of something or like a Benjamin Button. It's just been dramatized, but it's him as a baby. You know, it's like it's different.
Yeah. Okay. So I know we're jumping all over the place, but this
It's
movie's
Babylon. That's
Babylon.
literally the point of the
This
movie.
is Babylon. Now, and we're gonna be babbling on. Sorry. Yep.
If
No.
well, hold on, if I were to make that joke, you'd kick me off the show. And now
Yeah.
that you made it, I'm gonna give you a second chance to
All right.
never do that
Let me
again.
let me take my sip of coffee for a
As
minute.
long as you live, I hope you never make that joke ever again.
I was trying to figure out a way to do that, and I
And you
forced
figured
it,
out the wrong one.
and I am sorry.
50-50
Now,
chance, man.
to move on from that embarrassing thing,
Yeah.
the second point I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to get your interpretation of it. So this is
Mm,
towards the ending,
mm,
where Nellie was dancing towards like literally dancing towards darkness.
mhm.
Essentially, that was basically what she was doing.
Yeah.
And one, like, I quickly want to touch on this before we get to the actual ending and your interpretation of it. Again, jumping all over the place, but I when I saw that, it really moved me. And I was thinking to myself, like, why would she do that? Why would she, like, she was going to be happy because she said the line that she said to Manny at the end of the party, where it's like, "Ain't life grand?" And do you think, like, if Nellie stayed, that hitman would have killed her? I'm not saying Nellie knew,
No,
but
no,
like,
I know.
under
I think
circumstances, she would have died either way. Like, she would
I
have
think yeah. I think
overdosed
either circumstance she
or
would have
shot.
died because that when that hitman came in, he killed the other two guys. That they were just innocent dudes holding Manny so he can grab something.
Well, not so much innocent,
Well,
because
they weren't a part
the
of the thing.
count gave him like fraudulent money and knew and
I
didn't
get
tell.
that, but the count we know he dies, but the other two guys that were like, "Hey,
Oh
I
yeah, yeah.
left something in this apartment that you guys are staying in. It used to be something that's mine. I need to go grab it." And like, all right, come on in. And he then kills those two guys. They didn't have anything to do with Nellie or the count or Manny. So I think either way, she was gonna die. But I
I
think
mean,
it was more
tying up
cinematic.
loose ends because the count was at the party and he was with somebody, so you can't really leave witnesses.
I know, but
But
that it was a different guy. The two guys I'm talking about were not related to
oh,
Manny
oh,
or the
oh,
count
okay.
in
Sorry,
any
because I
way.
only remembered two in the room, and my
And the count wasn't one of them. The count I think was in the car. No,
no,
it was just Manny.
the
No,
count,
the count.
the count wasn't. No, because when
Hmm.
Manny and Nellie, they drove up, right?
They did. It was both of them. They drove up, and the count was. I don't know where the count was. He was in a different part of the
He
movie
was
at this
he
point.
was he was in the apartment because
Was he?
you saw Manny looking through his photo shots. Like the count was trying to be.
That's right. No, that's right. That's right. It was the count's apartment, not Manny's apartment.
For a
You're right.
second, I thought I was wrong, and I would have looked like an
No,
idiot. But
dude.
it's
Again,
just
I saw
you.
this movie when it came out months ago. So I think I saw it like in December.
You are forgiven. You are
Yeah, it's been a long
the
time.
fact that you
I
still
haven't seen it
remember
within a
the
year.
fact you still remember anything about this movie. This movie
I don't have
goes
that
through.
bad of memory, but there's bits and pieces. But no, I think it was more cinematic if Nelly walked into the darkness because it was the point of it being consumed by Hollywood and its tropes and its fame. And
Did you? I paused. I paused the movie because they did. There was a headline after Manny gets back and like drives away. He was trying to find Nellie, but he didn't really have that much time, so he just moved on.
because he was
Which,
told by the hitman to get out of Hollywood.
yeah, and the shoot. The article said like Nelly found dead, but she found dead of an overdose. Like she overdosed and died, and was left in the apartment. Or she was in an apartment somewhere.
It's
But
probably
she was
staged,
found
dude.
shortly after. Like
I think I think it was staged.
you thought it was staged?
I think the hitman staged it.
Huh. Wait, what makes you say that?
Well, he had a gun mainly, and he killed the other two guys with the gun, and the count with the gun. So I thought, for my interpretation, that the hitman was in the darkness, plow plow, saw where she was, followed up the trail, and found the open door.
That's interesting.
Again, I get, but this whole point of this movie is up for you. Like the stories that you see in this entire movie are linear, but the way you see it is many different variations of it, and that's why I think this movie goes underappreciated, because what Damien was doing was unique, but also the fact that he made this whole thing without any CGI, with no special effects. It was all practical and real, which especially during that war scene where he had to shoot all the fights.
Yeah.
Wow. Definitely interesting movie. I recommend you go see it, but
Yeah.
it's so many
What did
great
you
things.
think of when Manny went to the theater? Because
At the end of the
I,
movie,
yeah, the
it
very
oh,
when he was breaking down, because when I first when I was first like watching it, I was just like, oh wow, this is really cool. That like
yeah.
because Manny said that he hasn't been to the movies like since he left. So like this is his
Yeah, so
first
that's
time.
about 20, 30 years, I think, from when he
Yeah,
left. And when I
he
first saw it,
was he
I was a
upset?
little
Like
so I've listened to many people give their interpretations of the movie, and I think I've understood what the point was. But the way I took from it was, out of everybody in that crowd, because at the very end of the movie, you get that wide shot of
yeah,
the giant theater, so much so that where you lose Manny, like it starts with Manny and it pulls out,
yeah, like a
and
crane shot, and it was going
yeah,
through like all sorts of
all
like
parts of
kids,
the rows. It
couples.
was everybody, and I think the point was it was because it was Singing in the Rain, the
Yeah,
movie that they were watching, and Manny, who was there when they were shooting the movie, and he was helping with the movie, saw
I
how the
I'm
movies
glad
were
where you
made.
that I'm glad where you're going with this.
Yeah, and he saw how the movies were made, and the horrors, the struggles, and the pain. And then he sees Nellie, and he sees Jack, and all these different things. His friends who are now past. He sees this as a immortalized version of the friends he knew, but also the sadness that he had to experience when they were alive with them. But everybody else in the theater sees this amazing movie in color, with sound and singing and special sounds of the water trickling and everything,
Dec- Decade or two after
when
like a decade
Technicolor
or
just was
two
beginning.
in advancement of like films and
Yeah,
technology.
Technicolor was just new and everything, with all these amazing movies, and no one understands the problem with movies at the end of it. So I think there's a lot of great things you could interpret it as, but I think a lot of it was, for some people
Man,
it's a show, and for him it's
I
like a
thought
war
like he felt
flashback.
betrayed.
I
I
thought
don't
he
know.
was just really just sad, like he only knows the truth of what happened.
Yeah, because when he was like sobbing in tears, like I like because the what he was viewing, like what you brought up, like were very similar. Like because the earlier in the movie, Brad Pitt was a part of like Singing in the Rain, where like you remember like the where he had to wear that coat and
He was
everything.
the chorus.
Yeah, it was a chorus. And so I like at first I thought it was like a commentary of like reboots, of like remakes, of like revisions, and like when he started tearing up, I was like, wait, is he sad because like other people were immortalized where the ones before did, like, they didn't, I don't
I,
know, like
I
I
think
just like
I don't think you're
it,
wrong, but I
my
there's just so
my
many things.
my perception, like your explanation is a lot better than mine, but I was
Well,
just
it's
so like
only because
the
at the end of the
movie.
movie where you see that montage, where you
Yeah,
see the decades of movies in order of the importance movies of those decades, where you
I'm glad
get
they included Avatar and no Marvel movie. yes. As much as I love Marvel, I'm glad they included Avatar and
Not
not
gonna
like
lie,
Iron
I
Man
was kind of
stoic.
hoping they weren't gonna do Marvel at the same
Me
time,
too.
but
That would
you
have
know
been
they
so
started
weird.
off they started off with the old film where it's just the guy, I can't remember the names of the guys, but they recorded people leaving the factory, and it was called it's called the end of a factory shift or something. It's a black and white film. It's like 4 seconds long, and they just record this group of people leaving a factory. And then they went to the Great Train Robbery, which is this black and white movie about this train robbery. And at the end of the movie, where the robber points the gun at the screen, and it was so impactful because people never really associated with the characters with the other side of the screen. So when they were pointing the gun at the screen, they thought something was going to get shot out of the screen, and they all ducked behind their chairs. So parts of cinema becoming more and more important as that montage went on. Ending it with Avatar was such a weird thing. I was like, was that Avatar? Like I couldn't believe what I saw. I'm like, that wasn't Avatar, was it? Because it just felt odd, but it made sense because they
Yeah,
added Tron, the first movie with 3D backgrounds and a moving
that was a
image
cool touch.
with this. It was great. And they added Pixar movies and all these different great animated features that were then, milestones in cinema. So we said this briefly on the call. We were trying not to say anything, but this entire movie is a love letter to cinema, but it's also a breakup song
And a cautionary tale
and
as
a
well.
cautionary tale. And overall, this movie is it
This
deserved a
movie
little more
also
recognition in the
can
Oscars.
be rewatched. Like
I think
I
this
I
can be
I
rewatched,
see myself rewatching this quite a
but
bit.
I feel like you also have to be in a specific mood in order to rewatch it. Like you can't have a
I
great
was
mind.
having dude, I was having so much
I mean,
fun
it's
watching.
great, but like the first two acts are great, and then the third act, you're just not mildly, wildly uncomfortable.
When Manny was like screaming at Nelly in Spanish, I was like, man, I wish I knew Spanish.
I think I
I
caught like
wanted to
one or
know
two
what he was
words in that
saying.
entire
I
thing.
heard I heard pendejo and I was like, okay,
I
yep,
got that. I knew that one. Yeah,
I know
no,
that one.
that's how stupid we are. Speaking
Yes.
of Oscar nominations, because I want to move on to something that happened this week. Okay, you didn't see the new Mario movie yet, and neither have I. But a
No,
certain song from the movie's been going around the internet, sang by
I
Jack
even
Black.
hit.
It's in terms of the Oscars able to be Oscar nominated for Best Original Song. Now,
What? What?
now, I hope it is to the point where they can perform it at the Oscars with Jack Black in
Wearing
that
Bowser's.
Bowser onesie, just singing on the stage, peaches, 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 peaches. It's surprisingly catchy, but mainly because it's Jack Black being Jack Black.
And Anya Taylor-Joy, you can have her wearing the Princess Peach. You could have her like laying down on like the piano.
Or just have like a professional ballet dancer like that Deadpool beauty
Yeah,
out
I
of
know. Yeah, I
ashes.
know what you're talking
It
about.
was perfect.
I
I
farted a
think
little.
that movie is gonna really shake because it's already got like I think like 500 million worldwide.
That's good.
I do know that it is becoming the number one most successful animated movie. Like it beat Frozen 2. That's how good it's been.
I don't think many people even remember Frozen 2.
Um, I do because it's way better than Frozen 1. Way better.
That's a statement. If
It's
I've
not a
ever
statement, it's a fact. Did you watch Frozen 2?
Yes, I've seen Frozen 2.
Did you watch Frozen 1?
Yes, I've seen
And
Frozen.
you pick which one?
I I think I would have to rewatch Frozen 2 first, but I do remember not enjoying it as much as I enjoyed Frozen 1. I think Frozen 1 has to be one of the most perfect Pixar movies, and I'm
Disney.
afraid to say it.
Disney. So
Well, okay. All right, one of the few perfect Disney movies.
okay, so I guess we're gonna have to rewatch Frozen 1 and 2 back to back, and we're gonna have to fight it out.
Yeah, well, I got Disney Plus downstairs in the living room, and we're gonna have to come back next week
Yeah,
and
I'm not
settle
watching
this
Frozen.
debate.
I'm not watching Frozen this week. I got enough things to watch already. So we'll do that. We'll do that for a video.
Oh
Speaking of
yeah,
Deadpool, did you hear the big news for
the
Deadpool
big
3?
news.
Big boy, big metal, gigantic Russian news. Colossus is back, baby.
Oh my gosh, man!
And
And
Vanessa.
do you
And
think they're
Vanessa.
gonna do? Do you think they're gonna do a redesign of his suit to fit more of a comic accurate X-Men
Maybe,
yellow and blue?
maybe. But I don't care about all that. I care about what? Care
Vanessa.
about whatever villain they're going to be doing. That Colossus and Wolverine do a fastball special.
I didn't think about that.
How can you not? That's like the number one thing when anyone thinks Colossus and Wolverine.
This week has been so oversaturated with
I know.
news. It's
There's been
hard
so
for
many
me to
wild things in the
think.
news lately, but
I looked at it and I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
You know,
cool.
like, that's awesome.
No,
But
I
I didn't think
couldn't
about the
not think about
fastball
that.
special.
But then, well, now that's got me thinking, like, who's going to be the villain enough where you have to do that? Because it can't be the Sentinels, can they?
Deadpool from X-Men Origins.
If that's the villain, that's going to be great.
The villain. 20th Century Fox.
That really actually show them just killing their relationship. Now, you did mention Vanessa. My worry is they're going to change the character because I think from Deadpool 2, they kept it as the death character. You know, like when Deadpool dies and he has that moment of where he's in the afterlife and he's talking with death.
Yeah.
I feel like Vanessa's our version of death without having to like
Really
show. Well, I feel like in Deadpool 2 that they did a pretty good job at it where every time he died, he saw her, they had a little moment back in the game.
I always figured that was like what do you call it? Deadpool's like just subconscious of like what Vanessa would say, you know?
Maybe, but I kind of saw it as
that kind of stuff is like up for interpretation. So you can literally
but I took it what they were doing from like the Deadpool game, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Or the Daniel Way Deadpool run where Deadpool just wants to die and Death wants him to die, but also knows that like, you know, he can't, so they can't be together.
So I think I don't know. I hope they don't bring her back.
Beautiful.
That's the thing. I hope they don't bring her back. That's the main thing. I hope Vanessa.
I hope she's just a cameo. Like not.
I hope she's a little more than a cameo because she's great.
But like there's like two ways you can do it. You know, you can have her be in the background where Wade and you know Vanessa they're expecting or whatever, or you could have her be like copycat but like in an alternate timeline because they're going to be doing alternate timelines, so you could probably like explore a different timeline where Vanessa is Vanessa and she is alive but also she is a mutant, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe I feel
or
like
or you can even touch on the fact that when she was in that tube in the first Deadpool movie, you know, like you know maybe Ajax injected her with something and you know her abilities are later going to be developed. I don't know.
Just hope she. I mean, those are all options. I just hope they don't bring her back. I think that moment in Deadpool 2 solidifies his character.
But he also redid it though.
He did. I don't know. Look, man. Oh, that's right. She's alive.
Yeah, they redid it.
I forgot. That's how Deadpool 2 ended. Oh,
Deadpool 2 ended by redoing the movie.
That's right. Oh God, I gotta watch Deadpool 2. Okay, well, you know, anyone's game at this point. Captain Marvel. Did you watch the trailer?
I watched the Marvel's trailer and
why are you so hesitant? It looks we agreed it looks way better than what we thought.
No, I was trying to articulate my words where I wasn't overhyping it, but I also was addressing the fact that it doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look bad.
No, and I do think though it's getting unnecessary hate. I think both Brie Larson and this movie because it's got like 300 and something thousand dislikes on the trailer.
Wait, how can you measure that though? Like we don't
no, because there are some like blockers you could add to your Google Chrome and you can see the dislike thing.
Oh.
So someone did that and it is very obvious on the response, which I don't think makes sense. The
politics attached to that movie is really fascinating.
Politics? What do you mean?
Well, the politics of the fact that like people don't like Brie Larson. There's also other people out there that have agendas where it's like, oh, we don't want females in our superhero movies, and you know, stuff
they should never pick up a Marvel comic if that's the case, because there are so many great female characters that are heroes.
I don't love Brie Larson, but I also don't hate her enough to where like I want her career to be.
Well, I'm not saying you have to like the character if you don't. I mean, like you don't have to like every actor, but I do think though if you don't like her, Don't make it your every living waking moment to
Like,
prove
don't go
it.
out of your way to just like write an article or like post like hateful crap on the YouTube comments, because
Yeah.
also at the same time, if you think about it, like, unfortunately speaking, because like now it seems like Marvel movies are more catering towards children. People like, kids are going to be going and watching these movies, and then they're going to see in the comments that like, their favorite movie is being like crapped on by some like sweaty, like hairy, like fat guy in a basement, being like, oh, I don't like Brie Larson at all.
Really had to make sure you got all four corners there.
Yeah, well,
Sweaty,
that's,
hairy, fat guy in the basement.
yeah, like I don't
Cool.
know, like that's who I picture whenever somebody's going to be doing stuff like that.
No, no, you get a
Fun.
pretty good image when you see it when you hear a guy who's really hating on a female actress for absolutely
Because
no
the trailer
reason.
rocked and they had
Yeah,
sabotage, and
it was not
the movie
sabotage.
looks solid.
That
Like
was
the
not. It was
CGI.
intergalactic by the Beastie Boys.
I'm sorry, I watched it.
Sabotage.
I watched Shazam: Fury of the Gods the other night, and they played sabotage.
Oh, how
So
was
Beastie
that?
Boys is it? Uh, eh, I
Really?
wasn't a fan of it. Um,
Dang it.
I know, but you might enjoy it. I mean, it's best enjoyed when you're watching it with a family. But dude, I got so bored so quickly.
Wow.
Like there was really one good scene.
How was Helen Mirren?
Generic.
Okay.
Yeah, like the
Well,
villains did nothing special. Um,
okay.
I really don't see as much of a difference between Billy Batson and
Okay.
Shazam.
We talked about this like 2 weeks ago. That's the
Yeah,
problem. That's the problem with some people about that movie.
I couldn't really tell. I couldn't really tell, to be honest.
Yeah, that's I think what they need to kind of tweak.
Probably because I wasn't really paying attention too much,
Well, I
because
wouldn't say that. I don't think that's your fault, dude. I think a lot of other people were saying they need to establish a difference in personality between Billy and Shazam, which in this movie they didn't necessarily do all that well. Which is
yeah.
exactly what I was
But with
mentioning.
this Shazam though, like from the first movie, like he's the same exact kind of guy, but he's also like there's also a little bit of an arc with him where he doesn't want to be abandoned by his family. That was kind of the angle I was really
Isn't that
liking.
the
I was like,
first movie
okay,
though?
no, that was his arc was like him running away from his
Oh,
family
okay,
to
I guess.
go to his mom. But with this one, like he wants everybody to stay together. He doesn't want he hates the idea of his sister like moving on to like college.
Hmm.
He there's a love thing going on with Freddie and one character.
I
I feel
saw
like,
that.
okay, all right. Well, she has a pretty important role,
Hmm.
but also like that was kind of pretty, and because her
Hmm.
first introduction was like her meeting Freddie. He was like, "Hey, I'm Freddie. You must be the new girl," and blah 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 blah. And then the two bullies from the first movie come up and start like harassing him. And then you have literally a teacher walk up staring at him. And I hate this in movies so much. Like I really hate movies like when they
Why'd you
do these
just
whole
Why'd you
encourage.
just leave?
Oh no. My cat was over there.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do a bit. Is you just
No,
like I
I
hate when
wasn't
in
doing
movies and
that. But you know what? To go on to like hitting the pillow thing,
in the pillow.
like these kids are bullying like him right in front of him, but also like assaulting him, right?
Yeah, well,
And the teacher's like, "What are you guys doing?" And then the girl who is supposedly having a crush is like just staring at him, like not even saying a word. Like, do you guys really need to do this? Kid's a cripple. And then like later on, when he stood up for
sounds
himself,
exactly like the first movie.
he was like, "You were very brave when you did that. You're kind of like a hero." In my head, I'm thinking, I don't even think I like you. You didn't even do anything to help me. You just stared at me.
Okay,
Like
well,
I hate
sounds like a
Stephen
great
King
movie.
bullies so much. I get there's schools, that like are like that, but with this
Sure,
one, like
but it's exactly like the first movie.
it's cartoony to the max.
Well, I don't know. I'll watch it when it goes like on Redbox and I can get it for like $1 or something. Have you been following a lot of the Guardians of the Galaxy news?
No, I'm kind of like I've been hoping that you would send me stuff, but I also don't want to like spoil it.
So let me tell you what's been going on. they set up this station near Coachella that's kind of a really cool thing where you can get like your photo taken, you get some fun little swag. Wish I was there in California. But I sent you this. Sylvester Stallone is coming back as Takar O'Gord as
Oh,
his
show me an image.
Guardians character. And I got a gut feeling, man, that the other remaining Guardians, like Michelle Yeoh, Miley Cyrus, Vin Rames, everybody is gonna come back too.
Didn't James Gunn like I don't know, like confirm that they were gonna
I
come
think
back?
they are, but I just like I see I can't find anything, so I'm just going off that gut feeling. But I hope they do. But also, my boy, Sweet Pea,
Nathan Fillion.
Nathan
Nope, never mind.
Fillion, is
Oh, yep,
finally
yep.
showing
Okay,
his face
okay.
in a Guardians movie.
Okay, I pointed this out to you. This is the second time he's
Yeah,
cameo
because the
the
first
Guardian.
one, he was the blue guy that got the Groot with the nose, and then now we're seeing his face.
Hold, I feel like we have to add context to that part. If you haven't seen the first Guardians movie,
Oh, I mean,
go watch it.
If
That's
you
the
haven't
only
seen the first
context
Guardians
you
movie
need.
by now, that's almost 10 years ago, which
Yeah.
is scary. But yeah, he was the big blue guy in the prison. He wasn't in the second one.
No. I mean,
No,
he maybe,
he didn't make it
but I
obvious.
doubt it.
But then he was in the Suicide Squad.
So
Uh,
James Gunn has a bit of a relationship with him,
yes, but the thing is that you think he's ever going to come back as the TDK because he didn't die. He just was in critical condition.
Uh,
Or do you
I
think it
don't
was
know
kind of
why.
like an off-screen death?
I think it was an off-screen death because like he
Mm.
was caught, like he was choking on his own blood. And he was on his back, so I'm pretty sure. Because like, didn't you like it said it's on the screen? It said like like on that montage of the song "People Who Died," which is such a
Great
great
song.
my
dad's liking that. We were driving somewhere and I played it and he goes, "Oh, I like that song." He like pulled his phone out and he Shazammed it. Even though there's a little screen that tells you the song, he still Shazammed it.
So cool. I love him.
Well, he's been liking it, so I hear him around the house going like, "Those are people who," as my dad does. But I don't know. I don't know. I really hope he comes back for more stuff because I love Nathan Fillion. Now, I don't know if you and I talked about this, but I know I said this on my TikTok, which you guys can go check. I didn't have the TV podcast. But the one movie I would love to see. Now, I've never seen a single episode of this show, but Nathan Fillion's show, The Rookie, where he's a cop. I think it's on like the CW or something.
It was on a Fox or something.
That's what it was. It was like wherever Brooklyn Nine-Nine was, because I know they were the same network. Maybe Fox. I want that show to end as a movie. Now, you don't have to see the show to see this movie, but I want it to end in a movie, and I want it to be called The Captain. And Nathan Fillion's character, who's the main character of the show, The Rookie, has to have one final job. He killed his partner, and he's got to go to the captain. He's got to solve this mystery. Guess who's the captain? Brendan Fraser. And it's a buddy cop movie with Nathan Fillion and Brendan Fraser. That would bring in so much money. Because it's essentially, I just want it to be like, let's be cops, but Nathan Fillion and Brendan Fraser.
Now, to the audio listeners, James has brought this up a few times with me before. And every time he brings it up, I'm convinced more and more that it would be a good movie.
It's so good. It sounds like the dumbest movie premise, but because I think they both can mold it into something great with Brendan's humor and Nathan's humor and just their overall personality of just optimism, it's a feel-good buddy cop movie.
If you want to get like, if you really want there to be a heartstrings tug, kill off Brendan Fraser.
No, I don't want that. I saw The Whale. And like
you saw The Whale finally. What'd you think?
Sad.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
sad but great. Huh?
Did that destroy your soul?
No, it did. It destroyed me. They didn't destroy my soul. I was like a lifeless blob at the end of that movie because I was just so.
Like Brendan Fraser. In the movie. It's
still way too soon.
Oh my God.
I mean,
when will it? When?
I just mean like it's so. It depletes your energy because you're so sad all the way through. In that
Yeah.
scene where he is like, read it, and he's getting up and she's reading the Moby Dick
Oh.
not poem, work that she did. I guess spoilers for the whale.
It was her piece of it was yeah, spoilers.
It was like
It
a
it
English
was her piece
assignment.
of writing that
Yeah,
like touched him, and anytime he feels like he would die, he wants somebody to read him his daughter's writing, because he wants it's so beautiful, and he wants that to be the last thing
it
he hears.
literally kept him alive up until when she read it. Because like I think three people read it. It was her, the kid from Iron Man 3, and then I think the assistant, like the nurse.
Yeah, and I think the one scene in that movie that really killed me was his Zoom session, and then he revealed himself and tossed his computer across the room. But before he did that, leaving him with a piece of leaving the kids with actual piece of information, like life information.
Yeah.
And dude, I just like
And
that
there's
movie.
one thing I got to disagree with you. It doesn't tug at your heartstrings. It grabs all of them and yanks them with a force you never felt like before. Like,
Yeah, that's like if you had a catheter and then you ask your 4-year-old to like rip it out.
my I don't know if I should tell the story.
Yeah, you probably should. You didn't even tell me the Babylon story.
Well, I can tell you that after the call. But
Oh,
when
going.
my dad's dad got older and he got got really old, they had to put a catheter in him, and he was so against it to the point where whenever he was like sitting down and had a chance, he would just start yanking it. Not it, but he'd start yanking the tube. And he starts getting like, and my dad's like, he's like, Dad, stop. Not me, Dad, but it's my dad saying to his dad. So he's like, Dad, stop. It's meant to be in there. You're like, it's not gonna. It's like it's not gonna. So they kept having to fix it because he would always try and pull it out.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's my family, man. I when I heard that story, I was just like you, with
Oh,
mouth wide open. Because like, can you imagine? It's like that Dumb and Dumber 2 joke. Did you see that movie?
yeah. Yeah, no.
I went to
He
go see that
just
movie
ripped
in the
it. He
I went to
ripped
go
it
see
in
that movie
like
in the theaters, and I left like 10 minutes into it because it was so dumb. I got my money back.
oh, did you?
Well, because it's like in the first 30 minutes, I think you can get your money back. If you sit through the whole movie, you don't get your money back. It's like a certain time requirement.
Gotcha.
And they're like, listen, we understand. So sorry. Here's like a not a convenience ticket thing, but it's like it's like, instead of giving you a refund, we can give you this instead, or you can get your money back. And I was like, well, what's the thing? And they said 2 tickets, because it was me and my dad, to the next IMAX showing, which is like next
Wow.
week, and it's for this movie Interstellar. I'm like, oh, okay, that'd be it.
That's a good upgrade.
Well,
It's better than Dumb and Dumber, dude.
I will admit it was better than Dumb and Dumber, but I haven't seen Interstellar since I saw it in the theaters, however long ago it was. And I don't remember liking it. I
Mm.
remember loving everything up until the end.
I mean, it's a real like it's a Christopher Nolan movie. That's
It's
what it's
definitely,
like.
I mean, I think though, I think if I rewatch it, I'll like it better. But I remember being like, so he's in a black hole and he's tapping the watch and he's
What's going on with the bookshelf?
like, I was so confused. And I looked over my dad to see if maybe he got it. And he was just as me. He was just so confused. And I don't know. It's not his best work. It's not definitely his best work, but we do know what his best work is. One,
Discounting
2, 3,
the Dark Knight trilogy.
Memento. What?
Oh, I thought you were counting the Batman movies. One,
The
two, three.
Batman
The Dark
movies. I just said Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, he did the Dark Knight
Oh, but
trilogy.
that's
Those
not
are
what
Christopher
anyone
Nolan.
thinks. No one thinks just Batman whenever it says, what's your favorite Christopher Nolan movie? There's so many other movies.
The way you were.
I already said what was your answer?
Okay, so my answer, it wasn't going to be Memento. It was going to be The Prestige.
That's a good one. I forgot he did that. I think Memento is like a better version of The Prestige. And I think The Prestige is a more classy version of Memento.
What other Christopher Nolan movies are there?
There are, of course, we have Inception, we have Tenet, we have the Dark Knight movies, we have Dunkirk, we have
Shoot. Dude, I think we just listed all of them,
did
right?
we listen?
Did
I don't
we?
think we.
We probably did.
No, I'm getting Christopher. There we go. Christopher Nolan. Here we go. Well, of course we have Interstellar, and then we have Oppenheimer. That's coming out real soon. Now, I don't think that got delayed because I sent you that thing saying it did get delayed, but then someone talked to a news reporter at Universal saying it is not delayed.
Good, good. I want to see the
But
movie as early
I
as
was
possible.
thinking like if they delaying it, then they were gonna lose to Barbie at the box
They were
office.
calling defeat.
They were waving the white flag before it even started.
They were waving the white flag, and they're like, "Oh wait, hold on," and then it turned pink.
Yeah, it was just like I feel like I thought it was a good choice. So the other movies he did was Tarantula, which came out in '89. It's a short movie. Then Larceny was also a short, and Doodlebug also a short.
Okay, so
But
the rest of
his first feature length, I think, was Following. His big one that got him out there was Memento, Insomnia, Batman Begins, Prestige, The Dark Knight, Interstellar, Quay, which is a short movie, Dunkirk, then Tenet. So I think we did list them all, with then Oppenheimer coming out.
now, I have a controversial question for you. All right. Now, you and I, we have a lot of love for the Dark Knight trilogy, right?
I
Do
say
they
so. I'd say
do
we're
they
pretty big fans.
do they do they still hold up?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think they hold up because
Now, do you think
I
Christian
take a
Bale's
swig.
performance as Batman helps?
I think without Bale, the movie couldn't have been as good. I think Nolan's directing was great. I think Nolan I think Nolan's idea of having Gotham be the main story of what we see through Batman was great. I think Christopher Nolan's direction of The Dark Knight Rises, having this hero story be told differently, was great. Christian Bale was great. Tom Hardy was great. Heath Ledger, of course, with the final performance he had, was stellar. And then we have
I will never say
Liam
a
Neeson.
bad thing about Heath Ledger's Joker. That
There's a
that
lot. There's a lot you can't say bad about Heath Ledger
you
because just
there
him as a
there's
person was
nothing
great.
you can say bad about Heath Ledger's
No,
Joker.
I mean you can probably say some of his acting choices weren't that great, but I mean past that, that's it. This guy was a saint. Okay, like
Henry,
one of my
I hate you. Yeah, I get it. I get it. You like that movie.
what movie?
Not you. I'm talking about other people. That's
Okay,
that keeps on
well because
popping up all
like
over
one of my
TikTok.
favorite things he said was during the Brokeback Mountain press conference, and the guy's like, "This movie's disgusting." He's like, "Well, I don't think it's meant for you." Like he was putting this dude in his place. I don't know. I think
Like he put Jake Gyllenhaal in his place.
that's too soon, Colin.
How? How that movie came out decades ago?
It's still when you watch that movie heartbreaking to see what happens. So
It's a
maybe,
fictional story.
but it makes you feel real emotions, Colin. So
Yeah, yeah. I
let's
cried
maybe
too.
hump the hate breaks there, huh? Okay.
All right, Wade.
I just like that sentence. It's a great line.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, I think Christopher Nolan's movie, the Dark Knight trilogy, holds because well, successfully, we've never had a Batman trilogy since. So that's the one thing I'll say. But I also
Not
think we
yet.
haven't had a good. Well, that is true. Matt Reeves is coming out real soon with the Batman 2, but
Oh, wait, no. The Penguin.
the Penguin as well. Yeah, that short trailer that came out looks great. Looks so much better than what I thought it was going to be.
Dude, it looks so good.
Looks killer.
Oh
Like
my god, when he shot that guy,
just straight up, he's just like that conversation's done. Baba was like it was cold.
you think it's shooting for an R rating?
It's a TV show, right?
Yeah, it's a HBO Max
So probably
exclusive.
it's gonna be TVMA for sure. It's gonna be like The Last of Us,
I hope so. I
which
hope so because, dude, like, yeah, dude, his laugh where he just like chuckles and then he stops and then he just starts chuckling again, and then boom, the title credits. But they're like they form in the same Batman
I
font.
like that. I like that font thing. Whatever he's doing with whatever title reveal is done by the way of the formation of the letters from the city.
Right, dude.
Ah, I think
Dude,
okay. The
Colin
last time a
Farrell, man.
trilogy came out, man, was The Dark Knight Rises, was 2012, and the Batman came out in 22.
22. 2021,
Hold on.
right?
Well, I don't know. Hold on. I think it was 22. It was 22. So it's been 10 years since the last big Batman movie.
Dude, and now
You think,
we're
come
getting,
on, that wasn't purposeful because there's no way you planned that well.
it was a sign from God. It was God telling us you waited too long.
Well, it's like,
Do we count Batman versus Superman? Because that's not really a
no, because it wasn't like that was both Superman and Batman. I'm talking like a Batman centered
okay.
movie
I'll
that
just double
wasn't
checking.
animated. That
I'll
wasn't
just double check.
animated. It was not an animated movie
Right,
that
live
potentially
action.
could lead a trilogy because Batman versus Superman was just a placeholder for Justice League.
Yeah, like Batman versus Superman was just originally was Man of Steel, and then Man of Steel 2, and then it kept on getting
Is that
changed.
happening?
What, Man of Steel 2?
Yeah, is that
No,
happening?
no.
I thought I heard
Not
something that was happening.
at the moment right now, no.
Well,
Because
you know, because
I'm saying at
the
the
James
moment,
Gunn's movie coming out.
yeah, I'm saying
Yeah.
at the moment because there was a fan out there that said that we want Henry Cavill back, and then James Gunn replied, he still exists. And people were interpreting it and like, is this like a double meaning where it's like like he's being funny, like, oh no, Henry Cavill does exist, or he's referring to like, no, he still exists in the multiverse. It's just like right now we have plans like right now, like we can't keep on like pandering, to the
Hmm.
fan and giving them everything that they want if we don't make our own stuff and give them what they didn't know they wanted. You know what I'm saying? Was that a
Yeah.
mouthful?
I mean, I got it, ate it up,
Are
but
you still sad?
look, man, I
You
don't.
know,
I don't know what
listen,
to
I
feel anymore with
through the
DC
I
because
went
I'm
through the
not gonna go see
phases
the
of
Flash in
depression.
theaters. I don't know what to feel with DC. I'm not seeing the Flash in theaters.
Oh, I'm seeing it in theaters, man. I gotta see this.
Well,
I
then you
gotta
know
see
what?
this.
You tell me how it goes. Tell me how the
Dude,
whole reset
I'm not
goes.
seeing it for Ezra Miller because the Supergirl in that movie, I forget her name. I think her name is Sasha something, but she
Yeah,
looks awesome as
she does look
like
phenomenal.
Kara.
I think that version of Supergirl should have been used a little more because she really killed it, despite the
Mm-hmm.
little
Dude,
bit that we got.
that TV spot where like I'm assuming she screamed at Zod, where she's like,
Sasha
"What have
Kelly,
you done?"
by the way,
Like,
Sasha Kelly. Yeah,
yep, like gives me chills. Like I know that she's probably not gonna be the our new Supergirl, but for the time being,
sadly.
she looks great. Michael Keaton as Batman. Like you can't be unhappy with Michael Keaton back as
See,
Batman.
that's the only. Those are the only two driving factors that would put me to
Ben
go see
Affleck
the movie.
Batman.
Yeah, I
3.
just I there's only three things that will actually had me go to that movie. Is like we said, Sasha as Supergirl, Michael Keaton back as Batman, and Michael
Mhm.
Shannon as General Zod. Those are the only three things that really
I
brought
just
me
said
back.
Ben Affleck. What do you mean? 4 things now.
Okay, I would be okay if Ben Affleck was not in the movie.
What? Hold on.
I'd be
I
okay
think
with
we're
that.
getting. I think this is the episode that we're actually gonna break up in. What are you talking about?
I said I could have been fine if he was not in this movie. I'm not saying I don't like Ben Affleck's Batman. I loved him in Batman versus Superman, and
And Zack Snyder's Justice League.
he was good in that one. But I feel like what they're doing is they're cushioning him, man. Maybe he'll surprise me in the Flash, but as of right, the last movie I saw him in, he didn't look like he was doing much. It looked like he just stands around and talk.
No, he did a lot. He did a lot.
Yeah,
Dude,
okay. He shot down some of the
scene.
parademons from the Justice League movie, but like,
Dude, and he launched out of the Batmobile on his little chair, and then he jumped out of it, and then like he went over, started killing some parademons, grabbed their guns, started shooting at people. Like what? What
I
do
don't
you
know.
want?
I guess I gotta rewatch it. But last time I was like, all right, I was like, I didn't think it was not cool. I just don't think it's what I would go see the movie for. Because like out of everything in this movie, we have Michael Keaton back as Batman. That's gonna make me want to go. We have Sasha, who's an incredible Superwoman. I mean, the suit looks great. Her heart's in it. She's excited about this movie. We saw that little clip when he was like, how can you fly? And he's like, no. He's like, well, what would you do if you could? And he holds the suit, and she starts freaking out. And like, that's the kind of thing I like seeing in my superhero films, is the people that aren't in it for the paycheck or for the movie title, but because they genuinely want to do it. And then Michael Shannon, who I think makes Man of Steel what that movie is. Henry Cavill brings the heart, but General Zod, Michael Shannon brings in that conflict that challenges it. Exactly that line. I will find him. It sticks with you like that. When I think of Man of Steel, I think about that line. That is the first and possibly one of the many other things, but that's the first thing that comes to mind every time. Because I remember sitting in the theater, losing my mind. So with Ben Affleck as Batman, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's not like, it doesn't get me as excited as it used to be, because I've seen a better Batman between now and then.
Yep, you're right.
So it's not
you're
like,
right.
it's like,
I
I'm
won't
kind
take
of
that
like
away from
done
you.
with it. It's like knowing you're watching the last season of a show you really liked in the beginning, like Community. You loved that first 3 seasons, and then the very end of the last season, you're still seeing a guy. It's like, I know this is done afterwards. It's peered off a little bit. I've seen something better. Can we just get this over with? That's kind of where I'm at. It's nothing against Fleck. It's just more like, I'd rather go see him in Air than this movie.
Okay, yeah. I'd rather see him in Air because that's actually a movie he's
That looks
more
great, by the way.
about. Well, I mean, he was also pretty passionate about the Flash movie because he did say that like he felt like he finally perfected his Batman,
and that's great. But I feel like for Affleck as a character and as an actor are two different things for me. His acting career is, left and right, but if he feels like he got Batman down in this movie, that's great. But it's too little, too late. Where it's like, we're done after this with his.
Not his fault though.
I'm not saying it's his fault, but either way,
no. I know that. I just want to make sure that other people.
No, I get that. It's too little, too late. Where it's like, once we're done with this, we're done. Like, it's great that we get one last great hoorah, but I'd rather watch Matt Reeves.
No, I definitely agree with you.
So,
the Matt Reeves Batman universe, I think I mentioned this to you once, but do you know what he's calling his universe?
We talked about this like 2 weeks, not even that. I think it's like a month ago. It's like Elseworlds, where it's the CW stuff, right?
It's Elseworlds, but also like his like the designated like Elseworld universe is called like the Crime Saga.
Yeah. We talked about that. It's called the Crime Saga, right?
Yeah, the Crime Saga. Which when you watch the Penguin trailer as well, it's
very fitting.
Very fitting, and it also makes me very hopeful that like we're actually getting lower stakes, but more of a personal end of the world.
Yeah, I like it.
I love it.
One last thing to kind of end on with before we wrap up is the new DC show done by James Gunn. What's it called? I don't remember.
Commandos.
Creature Commandos. Thank you, buddy. Creature Commandos. Yeah, finally we have a list of who the actors are.
I only saw one of them, so you're actually going to be giving me new news.
So, which one did you see?
I know that Rick Flag Sr. is going to be played by Crossbones.
Frank Gremlow. Okay, great. That's good because a lot of stuff came out about the Creature Commandos the last few days, including the list, which I don't know why I cannot find anymore. But hold on.
Someone is unprepared.
Hold on. Let's tone that down. I got it. All right. All right. So the Creature Commandos cast list has officially come out. As we said before, Frank Gremlow as Red Flag Sr., Zoe Chow as Nina Mazursky, Alan Tudyk as Dr. Phosphorus, which is
Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, love Alan Tudyk. You know Alan Tudyk. He was the pirate in Dodgeball. David Arbor as Eric Frankenstein. Indria Varma as the Bride, and Sean Gunn as G.I. Robot and Weasel. So we got Sean Gunn coming back as Weasel, baby.
And it's just voiceovers are just gonna be.
It's just gonna be like it wasn't like.
just what's gonna
I
come
still
out
love
of
that
it.
character from the Suicide Squad. I don't care what anyone says.
How'd you make this money, Sean? Oh, doing this.
I did a really good impression of a seagull.
Oh my
I'm
gosh, dude,
excited for
that's
this.
so
It's going to
awesome.
be a an animation to live action show. I for one am very excited. But with that being said, that we'll have to wrap up this episode of the Tu-Vie podcast. Thank you guys for
Cool.
joining. We got a lot of stuff coming out. We got Guardians review coming in like 2 weeks. I'm seeing it the Friday before we record, actually. So May
I'm seeing
6th.
it a couple of days. I'm seeing it May 10th.
Okay, so you're gonna see it then. But here I'm just gonna do a spoiler-free review. But if you want to go check out the spoiler-filled review, it's gonna be on our YouTube. I should probably just do both. Let's do a spoiler-filled and spoiler-free for both on your YouTube as well here on the podcast. We're gonna do a little mini pod about that. Overall, check us out on TikTok, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I'm really pushing Letterboxd. I'm trying to use it a little more often because I think it's a great way to show off movies that you watch and everything. Everything is gonna be in the
And
link tree in the
also,
description.
if you guys could subscribe to my OnlyFans.
What? What? Did you really?
That'll be up there.
Did you really?
No, what?
Oh my god.
What?
Well, like, hey man, it doesn't gotta be that. It could be your
Sweat
feet.
starts coming down my face.
No, man, no, that's crazy.
No, that was a joke. That was
No,
a
man,
joke.
I would never.
Yeah.
I mean, I would support but never look. You know, I'd subscribe for like a month, just support a friend.
Wait, first off, I know I shouldn't be mad at this, but if you had a My Fans, I would be a subscriber.
Why are you mad about that?
Because if I happen to have a My Fans,
if we have an OnlyFans Tu-Vie podcast one, it's just gonna be like DVD covers and like opening the DVDs, taking out the disc. Because it doesn't have to just be all that. I think people forget it was originally for like Patreon.
Yeah. And then
And someone got creative. But either way, go subscribe to Alex. And then I guess Colin's OnlyFans on the bottom. It's gonna be in the description. Everything below. Subscribe and like. Hope you guys
Mr.
enjoy.
Stain, the eye is a 1.
Great. Hope you guys enjoyed. Check out our Spotify as well. Thank you guys for watching.
Have a great day.